Hi there people! So you're done with your modeling. Now it's time to set up our lighting, and the best way to go around that is to go ahead and apply a material override to our scene. So I want to show you the picture that I've been referring to for this specific scene. We can see that's a pretty strong lighting going on, but in the left side, the light is a bit stronger than in our right side. So let's see how we can achieve this type of lighting on our scene. So first of all, what we need to do is to apply a glass material to our windows. This way, we're going to be letting the exterior light in. So let's go into our material editor and bring in a Corona physical material. Let's go ahead and apply a preset to this. It's going to be glass. And remember to set your index of refraction to 1.1. Alright, now we should have everything organized on our layers. So let's go ahead and toggle our layer explorer, and I'm going to double click on my windows layer to pick all of my windows like so. If you don't know how to work with layers, please go back a lecture. Make sure that within your scene you have everything organized like so, because you're going to save a lot of time this way. So you can see that just by double clicking I've selected all of my windows, and now I'm going to right click my glass material and assign material to selection. Now let's go ahead and apply a material override. So let's go to our scene tab, and down here we have the material override. I obviously want to exclude my windows, so I'm going to press on this positive icon while selecting my objects. Now let's give a material to this material override, and it's going to be the Corona physical material. Let's press OK. And now we actually need to add a light into this. So there's different ways in which we can bring in an exterior environment light. First of all, we're going to be trying the Corona sky. So let's go ahead into our material editor and write in Corona sky. And now in our render setup, we know that we have to go into our scene, and down here, let's select the single map. And now let's bring in this Corona sky to our single map, and I'm going to leave it as an instance, of course, and let's start an interactive render. Okay, we already know that we have to go into performance and deactivate the fast preview denoise during render. Alright, now if I increase the intensity of my Corona sky, I will be able to brighten this up. However, one thing that I cannot do is to control the direction in which the light is coming through. So for instance, I would like the light to come in a little bit stronger on the left side rather than in our right side. And that's a little bit difficult for us with our Corona sky. So you can see that we actually get a pretty good result using this type of lighting, but we can't control it that much. So let's stop the interactive render and bring in an HDR. So let's go ahead and type in Corona bitmap. And let's find that HDR. Okay, let's select this one and open. Let's just press OK. And let's replace the Corona sky with this new HDRI. So let's go into our scene tab, and on our single map, I'm going to just drag this wire to replace the Corona sky. It's obviously going to be as an instance. However, if you remember correctly, the way that we control the intensity and brightness from our scene when we are using an HDRI is by applying a Corona color correct. So let's go ahead and bring one in. So Corona color correct. Let's just drag it here and connect this one to this one over here. So I'm going to just drag it. Let's go ahead and start the interactive render again. Okay, so this time our light is coming through the right side, but what if I wanted the light to come through this other left side? I will go ahead and go inside my Corona bitmap, and here in the rotation we can just tell it to be at 90 degrees, for example. So we would have this type of result. So if I go back to my reference image, I'm just going to stop this render for now. I see that this light is actually a bit more uniform than the one that I have. So what we need to do is just to set the HDRI so that the light comes through both of these windows. So let's go back, and I'm going to actually go for a 60 degrees. And I also want to reduce the intensity from the HDRI of my sun. So let's go to our Corona color correct, and I'm going to type in gamma 1.5. So this will actually decrease the sun's intensity. Therefore, my image is going to look a bit less brighter. So I'm going to bring in the exposure value up to 1.5 and let's see how this works. Okay, so this looks much better now. However, it's still a little bit too dark. So what I can do now is work with my tone mapping. So let's bring the tone mapping in. Let's just increase this to 1.5. And now there's lots of highlights here that are actually damaging my scene. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a highlight compression. So let's go to this positive icon and let's bring in the highlight compression control. I'm just going to type in 2 for this one. Okay, I can actually go a little bit higher, maybe to 3, or we can try a 2.5. I can also go ahead and reduce the exposure to around 1.2. And in my Corona color correct, let's actually reduce also the exposure from it just a little bit. And there we go. This is looking pretty good. So this must be your next step after you finish your modeling. First of all, you need to apply a material override and then try different types of lighting. You can pick the Corona sky or your HDRI. However, you can see that the HDRI gives us a little bit more control as the Corona sky will be acting as an overall light on our environment. So I'm excited to see your results. If you're not sure how to approach your lighting, make sure to let us know. So this is it for now. Thanks as always for listening.